Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's Friday the 13th, 2024. And we are barreling headlong into the midst of a military psyop that is literally being denied by the government. And then not denied by the government, but then denied by the government. We're doing a psyop. Well, I shouldn't say we. Our government, or the Illuminati, you know, Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg, whatever you want to call them, the guys that we made insanely otherworldly rich since they pulled that fake pandemic on everybody. Those guys right now are pulling a psyop. And let me tell you a secret. Maybe you do, or maybe you don't know. I'm looking, I don't know what I'm looking at. The camera's right there, but I keep looking over there. I don't know why, whatever. Look at the wild hogs, see them? Wild hogs. They are legion. So the insanely wealthy people of the earth right now are doing a psychological operation. Now, for any of you boys or any of you subscribers that are in Jersey, send me all the info you can. rjcjr10@yahoo.com. Look at them go. Oh, that mackerel, that's a lot of... Well, that was odd. I'm way out. Way out in, by the Gulf of Mexico in Texas. And this is a prime Bigfoot hunting spot. So I figured this would be a good day to do my fast for the Sabbath. So at sundown today, I stop eating. And sundown tomorrow, I can eat. But in the meantime, I'm going to pray. And I've been praying pretty much unceasingly. Praying for direction, guidance, wisdom, etc. My biggest concern is misdirecting you guys in any way whatsoever at all. And the thing that keeps falling on my plate is Christmas Eve, the Vatican, opening 5 portals. That's what they call it. That's what they're calling it. We're opening 5 portals. Now, opening a door is a much more common phrase than saying we're opening 5 portals. But they're being truthful because they don't care anymore. They do not care anymore. After COVID, after so many different things, they've discovered that people, Americans, won't do anything about anything at all. They won't do anything. There's some of us that will, but if you remember 14, 15 years ago, I made videos saying, these guys are just going to wait around till people like myself and others die. Well, they have. They did. They are. So check this out. I already showed you that oh, can I wipe my nose without crashing? Yep. I showed you a few days ago that one of those drones went down in Jersey, and it went down in such a way that a resident simply walked up and started videotaping it. And then the government sent escorted buses full of military cadets or whomever, probably from Camp Picatinny, sent those boys in to gather it all up. Well, last night, a bird flew into the engine of a jet. The jet was approaching Jersey or New York. I can't tell which, because I thought it was suspicious that this person would be videotaping with their phone out the window the engine jet exactly as a quote-unquote bird struck it. But it's not a bird. And I'll show you the video. First of all, it's nice.
All right, everyone, welcome back. December 13th, I got another weird one for you. This one coming out of New York City last night. A passenger on American Airlines flight captured terrifying footage of what they're calling a bird strike on the jet engine, but when you watch it in slow motion, it looks a little different than a bird. American Airlines flight AAL1722 Airbus A321, which had just taken off from LaGuardia Airport heading to Charlotte. Shortly into the flight, a quote-unquote bird hit one of the jet's engines, igniting it. The plane was promptly diverted to JFK Airport, where it landed safely. All 190 passengers and 6 crew members were safe. The aircraft is now under inspection by the maintenance crews, and the FAA is investigating this event. Now, the first thing I'm going to mention here, and I hope you're thinking about it already, is the fact that we've been seeing drones over New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, all over the Northeast. Now, I am aware that bird strikes do happen, but I have to bring this into the conversation because these things are all over the place. Not only that, but I'd like to look up what type of birds are flying up in that area when it's this cold out. I'm sure there's some, but I have a feeling it's a lot more rare for bird strikes in the winter. Don't quote me on that, but we gotta check out this video and listen to the sound as well. It's a little muffled because the guy is obviously inside the plane, but just watch this video a few times and tell me what your senses are telling you. Does this look like a bird or possibly one of these drones? Here we go. I'll be back in 1 second.
The engine jet exactly as a quote-unquote bird struck it, but it's not a bird. And I'll show you the video. First of all, it's nighttime. Birds go in at the end of the day, okay? I live on the ocean. Seagulls call it a day when the sun goes down. They all head back to a place near my house called Egg Rock. It's a rock out in the middle of the water. Nothing can get to them. They're safe out there. It's like a natural sanctuary. This bird, if you slow down frame by frame like I did, you can see the vertical stabilizer fin. Birds don't come with vertical stabilizer fins, and birds, the only birds out flying around at that altitude, airplane altitude at nighttime, are owls. And owls don't mess around by airplanes a lot. Sometimes snowy owls will find their way over to Boston's airport and they have to figure out a way to get around it, but it isn't a bird. So one of these jets, one of these drones, and it looks completely intentional. I mean, this thing is moving. I had to slow it down unbelievably just to get a still shot, but I did. And you'll see what I'm talking about. So here's the deal. Long story longer, I'm literally riding a mountain bike in the middle of Bigfoot country alone. There's nobody here. I'm miles out into the woods. If you don't know, somebody that perfected military psyops for the United States military was a guy named John Aquino, Lieutenant Colonel John Aquino, and he was a huge, well-publicized, always on television, military soldier who was also a member of the Church of Satan. So much so that he started his own Church of Set.
While the article dates from 1980, the version on archive.org begins with an introduction by Aquino written in 2003. In it, Aquino defends his work, saying that the article and he himself have been grossly mischaracterized. He has decided to release the full article to the public to dispel any rumors of a nefarious occult plot to use black magic mind control as a weapon at home or abroad. The main thrust of Aquino's article is that psyops, as they're traditionally defined, have always taken a back seat to traditional tactical operations. Their success and implementation have been limited, in part because they've always been treated with skepticism by the military establishment. Aquino proposes that a new form of psychological warfare, which he calls mind war, should replace the old psyops. So let us begin with a simple name change, he writes. We shall rid ourselves of the self-conscious, almost embarrassed concept of psychological operations. In its place, we shall create mind war. The term is harsh and fear-inspiring, and so it should be. It is a term of attack and victory, not one of the rationalization and coaxing and conciliation. The enemy may be offended by it. That is quite all right, as long as he is defeated by it. A definition is offered. Mind war is the deliberate, aggressive convincing of all participants in a war that we will win that war. The bulk of the article is more than reasonable. In fact, it reads like a thoughtful solution to the bloody foreign interventions that have cost so many lives and so much money. Aquino is explicit, for example, in his criticism of the military-industrial complex, writing, "The advantage of mind war is that it conducts wars in non-lethal, non-injurious, and non-destructive ways. Essentially, you overwhelm your enemy with argument. You seize control of all the means by which his government and populace process information to make up their minds, and you adjust it so that those minds are made up as you desire. Everyone is happy, no one gets hurt or killed, and nothing is destroyed. Ordinary warfare, on the other hand, is characterized by its lack of reason. The antagonists just maim or kill each other's people, and steal or destroy each other's land until one side is hurt so badly that it gives up."
Okay, so John Aquino, I've talked about him a bunch of times over the last decade and a half, but he's the one that came up with Psyops. Here's the deal. Why am I even talking about this? This Psyop that they're doing, they're gauging our reaction. This Psyop, from what I've been told, and this sucks. Other channels are running into this as well. You can't show who's giving you this info, but I'm told that these are being operated by AI for Elon Musk's new Grok. That's what I'm told, but I can't prove it. But it makes sense. Because these things aren't doing anything necessarily besides hitting an airplane jet last night and almost taking it down. I'll show you the video. Into thin air, grabbed it. And then I got the screenshot off of it. It's definitely a cylindrical flying apparatus with a stabilizer fin on top. Aliens would need a stabilizer fin if aliens were real, but they're not. But whatever. John Aquino was well respected in the psychological operations department of the military. And anytime before any country, any major country goes to war, before they go to war, they engage in psychological operations, and then they go boots on the ground. Well, since some could say last year with the Chinese balloons, or some could say this year with the drones over the Pentagon, we're in the middle of Psyops, but after the Psyops are done, they need to mentally break the citizens. They're slowly but surely, I mean, to me it was very incredibly obvious, but some people don't even know this is going on. It's still, you know what I mean? It freaks me out. But after they break people mentally, or they think they've got them broken mentally enough, they are going to go full blast. And then last night, I don't even know what time it was, but I wouldn't be surprised if this drone hit the engine of that plane on Friday the 13th, because Friday the 13th, well, the founder of the Church of Set would be delighted using that date. But after they're done, they're going to go whole hog. And maybe last night was getting it going. Maybe it was getting it going, because that could have taken the airplane down. And it would have taken it down over the city, which would have been catastrophic. But that's what we're looking for. That's what's going to happen. That's what's coming. Sorry, I got heartburn. At any rate, the more I pray, the more the Pope opening portals, the bishop doing the Notre Dame ritual that the Pope declined to go to, which is odd. But if you listen to that entire sermon that's given after that incredibly demonic pipe organ music, which was absolutely invoking. Those pipe organs are used in churches to call in the Holy Spirit. These things were calling in a demonic spirit, straight up, period. And the entire sermon that the bishop gave after he did the 1, 2, 3 with the door knocker, not once did he mention Jesus Christ. Not one time. He didn't mention Jesus whatsoever at all, in any way. And then you've got the Pope putting a Palestinian nativity scene at the Vatican, and the nativity scene at the Vatican, and then taking it down right afterwards because it was too Palestinian. So apparently the church is afraid of Israel as well. So the Catholic Church just backs down from anything, unless it's a little kid, and then they're, you know, doing their thing. It's funny because it was too Palestinian. So apparently the church is afraid of Israel as well. So the Catholic Church just backs down from anything, unless it's a little kid, and then they're, you know, doing their thing. It's funny too because so many people confuse the Vatican with Christians. Okay? My vicar of Christ is me. Your vicar of Christ is you. Jesus came here, Jesus died for our sins, but we don't have to have any rituals, we don't have to have any middlemen, we don't need somebody to absolve us of our sins other than Jesus Christ. Period. So remember that. Here's another thing I just discovered. You ever heard of a kid named Billy Carson? He's a black fella that has made so much money. He has a private jet, an elevator in his house, etc. And he made millions and millions and millions of dollars because he told everybody he found out that Jesus is not in the Sinai Bible. Jesus being crucified isn't in the Bible. And that also he discovered that Jesus was married because he found the gospel of Jesus' wife. And for apparently like 10 or more years, he's been making tens of millions of dollars. To own a private jet, you've got to have $100 million for the jet. So,
how in the world can I know more about the Bible? How in the world can I know more about the Bible than you, and I'm not even a Christian? You got to get knowledge. You got to be willing to read non-commodity scripts. You got to be willing to read the complete Apocrypha, the lost books of the Bible that were kept out. Did you guys know that there's a book in the Bible of the Bible that's at Harvard Seminary called The Gospel of Jesus' Wife? Oh, yeah. Did you know that in the Sinai Bible, which predates the King James Bible, Jesus was never even crucified, guys? He lived on, got married, never got crucified. That was fabricated by the Roman Catholic Church.
All right, guys, pay attention to something here, man. Look at the date on this thing.
When you refer to the Sinai Bible, would you be referring to Codex Sinaiticus? Like the codex that comes? Okay. I actually have.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
So I have it here. And its text of the Gospels reads almost identical to the modern Greek text that we develop translations from.
How in the world can I know more about the Bible than you, and I'm not even a Christian?
I found the text where I was referencing, actually, I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
He fucked up.
The Gospel of Barnabas actually paraphrases Dante's Inferno, which was written in 1314. So there's a lot of internal evidences that disqualify the Gospel of Barnabas, never mind the fact that we don't have any evidence of it prior to the 14th century, and none in any other language other than Middle Age Italian and Spanish. But the internal content of the Gospel of Barnabas disqualifies it from being ancient. And then the fact that it's doing things like paraphrasing Dante, where it also refers to a rule of the time of Jubilee, which was changed in the Middle Ages from what it was in the biblical year of Jubilee. And it goes with the Middle Ages concept, not the ancient concept. It's not that there's debate about it. It's that it's a known forgery. I mean, no one's referring to the Gospel of Barnabas as anything other than.
If you say it's a known forgery, yes, but I'm going to go with that.
How in the world can I know more about the Bible than you, and I'm not even a Christian? Did you?
Tens of millions of dollars. To own a private jet, you've got to have $100 million for the jet. So this kid made so much money off of people believing his utter, complete nonsense. And apparently the other day he got called out by a biblical scholar, and the jig is up. But it's astonishing to me how much people absolutely made this guy a mega millionaire off of a lie. The Sinai Bible, you know where he got it? Amazon. When he's in the debate talking about it, he refers, you can go to Amazon and get it. That's the Bible. I got it on Amazon. And then everything else he talked about, like Jesus' wife's gospel that Harvard University Seminary was displaying. Yeah, it was a complete and utter fake, fraud. I'm shocked. Out of Harvard, I'm shocked. And I recently discovered a couple of other preachers, prosperity preachers.
There are 10 signs of false prosperity gospel preachers. They live a lavish life.
Do you make any apologies for your grand piano? I really don't.
They teach that it's always God's will to heal you.
Bald spots, I call you gone.
They fabricate the gift of tongues.
Condo,
They teach what you say will always come true.
We are believing the Lord for checks in the mail.
They associate themselves with other false teachers. They lack biblical teaching.
The victory is won not on the cross, it's in the garden.
They pressure you to give money.
And you need to make a vow of faith of $1,000.
They don't talk about sin, hell, or God's wrath.
But I don't feel like I'm supposed to go and beat people down.
They use their false music to draw people in. And they teach a false gospel.
The blood of Jesus too powerful just for you to be a millionaire.
So many Christians are this stupid, are this gullible to be giving guys so much money that he has a fleet of private jets. He brags about them all the time, and he is the most demonic person I've ever seen in my life when he's giving them. You can see it. It's straight up evil, man. You know what I mean? It's amazing. Now it makes sense to me why quote-unquote self-proclaimed Christians have allowed gays, transgender, pedophilia, sexually minor attracted persons, all that, it's all starting to make sense. This kid, Billy Carson, was so famous that in 15 years, I never heard of him until he screwed up and went into a debate with an actual real theological expert. And this kid smoked him, and he gave right up. His three main principles were the tablets of Thoth, the emerald tablets of Thoth. Yeah. I talked about those a long time ago until I found out it was just complete and utter nonsense made up by a dude very similar to L. Ron Hubbard, who created the Search of Scientology, who was a science fiction writer, who was literally quoted saying, "You can't get rich writing novels. If you want to get rich, you've got to start a church." And he did. It's amazing to me how many people are misled. And somebody like myself is worrying about getting back to my truck, to my campsite, so I have enough time to eat my ice cream before the sun goes down, so I can fast for 24 hours. Fast and pray. And I wanted to be out in the wilderness. Well, I did it. And I am. So, listen, guys. Try to observe the Sabbath. Try to fast. And prepare yourselves. Because it's going to come like a thief in the night. You go to sleep and you wake up and there's no electricity. Or there's another event. Because every 3 to 4 hours, there's a new attention-grabbing event going on. And it's kind of amazing to me that other channels are finally catching up to the Pope's opening portals, and they're finally catching up to the insanity that was Notre Dame. But they're still focusing on things like Luigi Mangione and whatever, These are all put in your place distractions. Keep your eyes on the skies, okay? It's amazing to me how many Christian truthers are just not seeing this like I'm seeing this. The Vatican said, we're doing a ritual and we want everybody involved, so we're going to live stream it. When does the Vatican ever give anything away for free? You know what I mean? We want everyone to see it because we're doing a ritual that's never been done before. Yeah. They're going to loose some serious ancient evil. And I believe it's going to fill the sky what are going to appear to be UFOs or something to that effect. And speaking of people that are just boobs, even though I wasn't, the drones aren't shooting at people, okay? The drones aren't shooting at people. Getting somebody sending you a really lame Photoshop of a drone shooting tracer rounds, really? Remember this. Whoever's drones those are, they want you to see them. You didn't have to see them. They could have done it so you didn't even notice them. You'd never know. And the one that everybody's showing, they're spraying things. Look that exact flight time and date up on flight radar. That's what it is, spraying things, but it's a regular old Boeing airplane.
Bro, this is crazy, man. Look at this guy. They're spraying the skies.
But it's a regular old Boeing airplane. You know what I mean? People are feeding into this the wrong way. They're feeding into this with fear. I'm not afraid. I'm just anxious. I don't like waiting. I don't like being on somebody else's terms. So therefore, in about an hour, I got an hour, sun goes down. I'm fasting and I'm praying like you're supposed to. The drones aren't shooting people. Drones aren't spraying things. That was simply chemtrails, and it was pretty obvious, but drones are flying into airplane engines and being called birds. Birds don't have vertical stabilizer fins, okay? They don't need them. God didn't need that stuff. Apparently Satan does. At any rate, love yourselves, love your neighbors. Richie from Boston. I'm out.